Hey, I'm Jim Richards. Hope you're doing great today. If you're not, you will be when we get through here. You know, so many times when people actually come in for counseling or advice or help, they've waited until they're drowning. You know, it's like instead of coming in when the problems are small, it's like, I'll find a way to deal with this. And then suddenly, it has just built up to such an extent. It's like everywhere they look, there's problems. They're like, I'm drowning. How do I get past all this? How do I overcome all these problems? You know, Paul really presented a really interesting concept whenever he was talking about all the afflictions that he faced. And he said that one of the ways that he overcame all of these afflictions was by seeing the unseen. Now, I know you got to be thinking, well, that'd be great if I knew how to do that. Well, interestingly is this, it's so important you understand this. Your emotions change based on where you focus your attention. And you can see this in everyday life. You can be watching a comedy show, and all of a sudden one of those commercials comes on that shows you all these puppies that are dying in the cold, or shows you people starving to death in the world. And these are real problems. And suddenly your heart sinks and your emotions change. And then when that commercial goes off and the comedy show comes back on, you're like, oh man, life's great. And that happens every day. That doesn't mean we're crazy. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with us. It just shows how God created us. And since our emotions change based on where we're putting our attention, we know that anytime our emotions are bad, all we got to do is look somewhere else, think about something else, focus on something else, talk about something else. And so, Paul was saying, look, I've been through all this stuff. I've been beaten with rods and with whips. I've been stoned with rocks, and I have had to run for my life. I've been shipwrecked. I've been hungry. I've been in all this kind of stuff. He said, but this is just light affliction. Why is it light affliction? He said, because I'm looking at something else. He said, I'm looking at the unseen. I'm looking at the promises of God. I'm looking at eternity. I'm looking at something that's bigger and far more important than this life. And a lot of people say, well, Jim, I know, but that doesn't solve my problems. Well, no, that doesn't solve your problems, but I'll tell you what it does do. It changes what your experience is in the middle of those problems. And when you change your experience, you might open your heart up to God, and God can show you how to solve your problems. When you're overwhelmed with those problems, you can't hear God. You're not going to hear what God's saying to you. You're so full of fear and frustration and maybe anger and resentment that you can't hear what God's trying to say. I'll tell you, God's always trying to help you. God's always trying to speak to you. He's always trying to lead you out of those situations. You know something? If you want to develop this capacity to see the unseen, to interact with the invisible world, then I encourage you to click the subscribe button below, and I'm going to pop you an email this Thursday with a link to a short message. And I'm telling you what, we're going to start discovering how to see the unseen, how to interact with the unseen, so that we can instantly change what our experience is. Now, when your experience changes, reality doesn't change. But I'll tell you what, you're looking at something that seems impossible, and then suddenly you change your experience, and now it seems possible. And then now that you've changed your experience, you open your eyes and you see other things, and you realize other things that God is making available to you, and you move from possibility to probability, and the next thing you know, you have focused on what God has done for you, and you move to absolute assurance. And that's just the way it goes. And that's what I want you to be able to do. I want you to be able to look at anything in life and have the absolute assurance of what the outcome of that situation is going to be based on the promises of God. So be sure and subscribe, click the link below, and I'll pop you email with a link to this message. And you know something? If you're facing all kinds of challenges in life, go to drjimrichards.com. I got over 100 series that deal with every kind of life issue that are available to you for free. And all you got to do is go to my website and check them out, because you know what? I want to help you overcome everything that you're facing and walk with God and enjoy life to its fullest. So be sure and click below and go to drjimrichards.com and check it out.